What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. And from Vox.com, Joe Biden is pretty good at being president. He should run again. Some Democrats aren't excited about Biden 2024. Here's why they're wrong. Now, this is notorious left-wing rag Vox doing the devil's work right now. It's almost like you want to just see a big bag with a dollar sign passed to this writer. Who is this for? This can't be for anybody who's actually paying attention. We can see clear through this. It's for like a college kid who's not going to ask any question, who's smoking pot on the couch all day. What is happening here? Right? Forget blanketing the entire country with mail-in ballots. Forget gas prices, egg prices, baby formula shortage, inflation as a whole, of course, the brink of war, the stock market, housing collapse, all of that stuff. Forget about all the lies he told. Forget about all those lefties that he told he was going to get rid of your college debt, which of course he doesn't have the power to do. The list goes on and on and on. His entire family is completely corrupt, and I don't know who's running it. Maybe it's Jill, because this man can't even put a sentence together. He's falling up the stairs multiple times. Remember when he jumped to prove that he was okay? He did like this little quarter-inch jump off the ground. This is absolutely despicable. And these people have no shame in blatantly trying to convince you that you shouldn't even believe your lying eyes. Don't believe anything. Just know that this guy is doing a good job. It's pathetic. It's despicable. It's manipulative, amongst other things. He says, I've written some hot takes in my time, and this is not one of them. This is an unbelievably cold take, a 0 Kelvin take. Wow, so this is good joke, bro. Oh, Joe Biden is doing a pretty good job. It's written for children, and you're pretending that obviously this is a pretty hot take, because everybody knows that's why you're trying to convince them, right? You know it's incredibly silly. You know it's incredibly stupid. Even Democrats, as out of touch with reality as they might be, can say this isn't good, because they know that it was a little bit unbelievable how he won in 2020, right? I mean, when you look back at it, we blanketed the entire country with mail-in ballots, of course, because of Rona. We now know that it was, I knew from the beginning, but even some other people who weren't convinced at the time now know that that was all fraudulent. And they want us to believe that this man is the most popular president in history, more popular than Barack Obama, 81 million votes, apparently, right? I mean, he's amazing. Everybody was so mad at Trump, even though when you talk to people out in the country, they can clearly see through it. It's just a little pocket in New York, California, maybe Chicago, Oregon, and they obviously can't defend those positions. They're just, walking zombies. They don't know why they hate somebody. They don't know why they like somebody. They were just told that and they went with it. They can't make a coherent point. And I'm not saying I'm the best at making coherent points, but I know to question something when it doesn't make sense. That's the difference. My argument in this piece is simple. Joe Biden, the incumbent president of the United States, should run for re-election. Okay, I mean, if you have to say it, that probably means that most people don't want him to. Just like Gavin Newsom is saying, most Californians are saying they don't want him to run, which means, of course, he is going to run because, as we know, these people do not care what you want. What you want is going to be thrown right out the window. Just 6 presidents out of the previous 45 have chosen not to run for re-election. Yeah, well, he's 117 and a half years old. He's way too old for the job. He should be enjoying his twilight years, eating butterscotch on a porch somewhere. But he's running the country straight into the ground on purpose to benefit his family and the political establishment, obviously. The last 2 who didn't, Harry Truman and Lyndon Johnson, and for the record, I believe Joe Biden is the oldest president in history. So the oldest and the most popular somehow, all in the same year that we just decided we have to vote by mail. Okay? No, I guess it's just a coincidence. Harry Truman and Lyndon Johnson were accidental presidents who ascended due to the previous president's death, though they did each win a general election outright, and both were embroiled in brutal and increasingly unpopular wars at the time they declined to run. Sounds kind of familiar, almost. I mean, this guy is incredibly unpopular. Anybody pretending to like Joe Biden probably works in the mainstream media. That's really it. There's nobody out on the street who can say he did a good thing. Even the people that were buying the line about the college tuition the loan forgiveness, even the people who bought that, which was obviously fake, they know now that was a lie. Even the people who were like so happy that he released all of the weed arrests, all the weed smokers that were just rotting away in a jail cell because they had a joint in their pocket. Give me a break. It's all completely fake. Everybody knows this. Well, not everybody, and that's part of the problem. And the people that do know it will be, banished from society for saying anything about it if they had their way. You have to go back to Rutherford B. Hayes, an 1884 situation that would be analogous to Biden declining to run for re-election. A president who won election in their own right and then chose not to run again. And Hayes had pledged in his 1876 campaign to only serve one term. So why is Joe Biden should run for president even worth saying? Yeah, let's find out. For one thing, because less than 2 weeks before 2024's election day, he's not running yet. Yeah, because he doesn't know what's going on. They're waiting for somebody to pull his strings. He doesn't know what's happening. Even the guy writing this knows that Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know foreign policy from a ham sandwich, bro. For real. Him and John Fetterman together, it's a slap in the face, right? It's a power play. They're telling us we're gonna put the most senile, weird, creepy, old, empty suit people into election, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And if you question it, we're going to figure out a way to get rid of you. Politico reported last week that Biden has yet to make a final decision on he's not making any decisions. Let's get that straight. Somebody is going to make those decisions for him. And while most people in his orbit are absolutely confident he will run eventually, that tiny glimmer of doubt enables all manner of speculation. Sure enough, he obviously shouldn't run. This man should have retired 2 decades ago, easily, like most people do at 65. But somehow he's 80 and he's so popular. And let's not forget that they told you shouldn't leave the house back in 2020. Don't leave the house because it's too dangerous. At least if you do, wear a mask. And of course, that was before they were forcing you to get pharmaceuticals injected into your body. But when Joe Biden won, they celebrated in the streets sharing champagne, and nobody questioned it. So that was okay, and it was also okay to protest in giant groups of thousands for racism, against racism. But it wasn't okay to protest with 24 people, at the beginning of lockdown. But I digress. Still, the persistence of will he run question has a basis in something more than the bored speculation of DC reporters. Did I skip a paragraph? Sorry. Does that mean anything? Anything at all? Probably not, as First Lady Jill Biden told the Associated Press last week. He says he's not done. How many times does he have to say it for you to believe it? Well, I don't believe anything he says. So it doesn't matter. Nobody should believe anything he says at this point. And for the record, Jill Biden might be, she's up there with Kamala, Hillary. These people are despicable. And I feel like a broken record, but as long as they're going to keep going, I'm going to keep going for spite. Okay? Still, the persistence of will he run question has a basis in something more solid than the bored speculation of DC reporters. Biden was the oldest person ever elected as U.S. president, breaking Donald Trump's record by over 7 years. So Trump was the oldest, then Biden became the oldest. He would be inaugurated at 82 and leave office at 86. Give me a break. Give me a break. People typically retire between 60 and 70 years old. And we're not even talking about a regular person. We're talking about the leader of the free world, or what used to be the free world. Of course, if he had it his way, it wouldn't even be close to free, but that's a different story. There is a non-trivial chance Biden will die in office if reelected. Yeah. However, Biden is likely to be higher than that because of his highly favorable risk profile. Biden had 2 brain aneurysms in 1988. He had a brain aneurysm in the 80s during his second run for the presidency, I suppose, when he got caught plagiarizing somebody else's speech. This is ridiculous. What kind of propaganda outlet are these people running here? And then we have this, Biden has been a pretty good president. It's just very simple for all you dum-dums out there. He's doing good. Don't ask any questions. He's doing a good job. You enjoy it, right? Orange Man Bad, remember that? Remember him? He was racist. Joe Biden, much better. Of course, it's not racist when an 80-year-old white man says you're not black if you don't vote for him. How is this happening? Biden is not in the strongest position you can imagine for a president seeking re-election. He is less popular than the last 3 presidents to win re-election. But Biden is not at all in the position that Johnson or Truman were in. He is not prosecuting a war with U.S. troops. Nor, contrary to much speculation, is the U.S. economy. Oh, no, don't worry. We're not in a recession. That's not real. These people are just, how many times do we have to see them lie right to our face and then change the story 6 months, 8 months, a year or two down, 2 or 3 years down? They just completely do a 180 and pretend like, oh well, you were right the whole time. Whatever. Kick rocks, idiot. We kicked you off social media, but it's true. They literally did the same thing with the election. Everybody was like, this doesn't seem right. I drove all around the country and saw, a small fraction of support for Biden as compared to Donald Trump throughout 10 states. But somehow Joe Biden was so popular, and then they come out, Time Magazine says, actually, we worked a little magic. We fortified it. We fortified the election for your safety because you would have been too stupid to vote for who we need in power, right? And what do they really have? What is really going on back there? Right? What is really so scary about Donald Trump? Nobody's perfect. I understand that. But what was he going to do that put them all in so much danger that a man who was on, TV for 15 years suddenly became a racist? What was he threatening to do to the political establishment that they smeared this man every chance they got with everything from P-tapes to racism, Russia, Ukraine, all of this stuff? And of course, the biggest one, the red hat is now a Klan hood. Meanwhile, you have 6 minute, compilation clips of rappers, largely black in nature, praising and emulating and wanting and name dropping Donald Trump. But as soon as he came into politics, all of that stopped. They did a 180 like they do with most things, like the mask, right? In New York, you had to wear it. You couldn't go anywhere without a mask. And now we're saying, actually, you can't go anywhere with the mask because people are getting robbed left and right. Look at this. It goes on for far too long. Most of these overpaid media hacks write these incredibly long articles that nobody's going to read, but you'll look at the headline and some college kid is going to say, oh, well, he's doing a good job. I will vote for Biden, even though when you go out in the streets and you talk to people, I guarantee you're only going to see if you were to really go out there and try to figure something out by actually talking to real Americans in different cities across the country, my assumption would be that you are going to find a tiny fraction, even in California and New York, of people who are going to say, I like President Biden because X, Y, and Z. They're going to say, actually, 2019 was a little bit better. I can almost guarantee you that. Unless they're just going to lie to themselves and lie to you, which is also very possible. But shout out to Vox for doing the devil's work here. Like I said, you got to assume that this guy just got a check made out to cash to write this article and, spread it amongst impressionable 20-somethings, I guess. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.